Joy Squad. Today, we've got Chris Krok in the studio, the powerhouse who redefined leadership with hands-on care. She spent 20 years building others. Now she's finding her own rhythm in the country's quiet. She finds joy in the grit of a DIY project. It's a craft she learned watching her father work with his hands. As someone who built leadership ecosystems for 37,000 employees, she knows the best leaders create conditions for everyone to win. Onboarded 6,000 plus hires every single year. 98% of them walked into day one ready to lead. Her work proves that human-centered design isn't soft. It's the most strategic move a learning executive can make. Away from the boardroom, she's the team mom cheering on the sidelines. She also serves on the high school booster club board, watched boys in bobblehead helmets grow into young men. Her heart lives in building the next generation. And she's a rescue pup mom who loves the beach. Chris is trading the corporate engine for a life of deep alignment. She is the proof that centering people actually transforms an organization. We are about to learn what it looks like when development works. Joy Squad, we're so excited to introduce you to Chris. Chris, welcome to It Starts With Joy.
Woo, oh my God. I'm watching this about you and I'm trying not to cry.
Me too.
Hi, Chris. Welcome to It Starts With Joy. How are you doing, lady?
I'm good, but now I'm emotional because of that video. I really am.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so happy you're here. And yes, the team, Zola and Melissa, the team did such a great job with our guest intros. And so we want everybody to feel seen. And so we see you and thank you so much for being here today. Really, really appreciate you being here. You've got like a whole bunch of friends who are cheering you on in the comments too. So it is great. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. And so you are coming to us from where?
Oh, New Jersey, if you couldn't tell.
Jersey. All right, so we're going to get our Jersey on for a little bit because I'm doing a new thing where I'm bringing my guest in for the hot take, Chris. And so there's a video and I'm going to ask the team to play because it's Women's History Month, right? And we're going to get our reaction to this video. We're going to talk about it for a little bit and then we're going to get into you. Okay? Eminem, let's roll the video. Let's see if we can get everybody to hear this.
Can you repeat that question?
Have you ever been asked to just smile and look pretty or smile and just say nothing in a meeting with a customer?
No.
Do you think that your looks helped you getting promoted or moving up to your current position? Looking so good? By the way,
yeah,
I do love the shoes. Are these designer or do you have a particular brand that you really like? Do your hormones sometimes get in the way?
Hormones, I don't know. I see that it's a bit of an awkward question, but...
Do you sometimes wonder whether you've been chosen for this position because you're a man?
No, not because I was a man.
How do you handle in your job being assertive without being perceived as aggressive or bitchy?
That's a question that I find it very hard to relate to.
Why?
Because it's not a situation I've been in.
What do you think about the line of questioning so far?
I see where you're going.
Where's that?
Showing the difference in what you perceive what you experience as a man versus as a woman.
It really, really, really feels uncomfortable, and I also feel it in my body.
When hearing these things still happen, it made me also feel that, hey, maybe I am more privileged than I thought I was.
Do you think this world is ready for your 10-year-old daughter to be treated with the same equality as a 10-year-old son?
This is something that keeps me up, makes me worry sometimes. So it's real when it's about my own daughter. I think the only thing I can do is to prepare for the real world. And it's really hard. People are so difficult for each other sometimes.
I wish every female leader to be safe and not confronted with these questions.
If you observe something, you have to step in. You can't just wait for someone else to step in or to solve something. This is a responsibility we all have.
Okay, thanks, Eminem. Thanks for running that. All right, Chris. Woo! Have you ever seen that video before?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, it actually came out for International Women's Day last year in 2025 by an organization, bold.com. And someone on LinkedIn reposted it a few days ago in honor of Women's History Month. And so I want to just hear from you. What did you feel when you watched that? When you watched the video, what came to mind?
Anger. Complete anger.
What way?
Especially when it said that it was questions that were asked of female leaders. Like, that just blew my mind. Thankfully, I've never been asked those questions. But it was just anger that it keeps going there, especially the hormones. I'm like, really? We're still there?
We are still there. We are still there, unfortunately.
It's funny and sad, but not as a leader, but in one of my jobs, I was with a male leader, and the person we were going to see for a sales conversation told me I could just sit out in the office and hang out with the girls and, just train them on something. And I will give this leader props every day of my life, because he was like, no, she's part of this, and she needs to know about your strategy and what we can do for you together as a team. And that will stay with me forever. And he was just awesome. He was also one of the best leaders I've ever had. So
yeah,
and still to this day is a great mentor. I can just call him up and just be me, and he'll give me some little nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So that's what I remember. Like the one person said, where women can feel safe, or if you see something, stop it. And he did stop it. And that was awesome.
Yeah. And that is actually, I'm glad you brought it up, because for me, that's the part of the video that struck me the most, because I have had, you can only imagine, I've had many interesting questions asked throughout my career in interviews and otherwise. I had someone ask me one time, and this had nothing to do with me being a female, but how do they put it? Like, they were amazed at how articulate I was and wanted to know how did that, where did that come from? And I just,
what?
The person said, yeah. And I looked back at the person and said, well, you seem quite articulate yourself. Where did that come from? Okay. So, but that's okay. I don't want to work there anyway.
Wow.
And this is not that long ago. This is not that.
Oh, Lord, that's even sadder.
Oh, I know it's sad. However, the point is that what you mentioned about what that gentleman, when she asked him about his daughter, and the look on his face and saying that, okay, we really do have to create this space. And if it's kind of like if you see something, say something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are, if you don't say something, then you are a silent supporter of whatever is going on at that particular time. And so, I don't know, the video itself just made me think that we're talking about leadership today, but it's so much more than that.
It is. And I have a 15-year-old son, and yeah, there will not be a good day for him if I ever hear him talking about stuff like that, even with girls in sports. It's different, but it's the same. Don't underestimate women. And I tell them that all the time.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. Never underestimate us. Well, so thank you for just playing along with me for a little bit. I just thought that was pretty interesting. I want to talk about you, because you are someone who is not to be underestimated. That video introducing you, your career, the spaces that you've been in, and the impact that you've made is quite impressive. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about and give your thoughts based upon what you've seen out there in the real world. This bug I have right now that is probably going to be with me for a little bit of time, about the fact that organizations are spending billions of dollars. The number I researched was over $300 billion on leadership development. So we care. Organizations care about developing our leaders. There's no surprise there. However, year after year, it seems as if we are still trying to develop our leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's broken? Like, talk to me about, I would love to hear your opinion. I have my own, but I want to hear from you on why is that? Why are we training and not transforming?
I think there's a couple of reasons. First, I think going back to what you said, there are people probably in leadership who shouldn't be in leadership, right? Maybe it was just the journey from where you started and then how you ended up being there. And you received training along the way. But it's not really about training. I mean, training is not the end all be all fix. There are great programs out there and everyone loves them. And you can gain nuggets from all of that. Is that how you learn? Is that who you are? And I look at leadership development as starting from the very first day you start your job, because you have a leader. And that leader is sharing their leadership experience with you, their leadership style. And along the way, as you move to different leaders, you gain a little bit and you start to say, I don't want to be like that.
Yes.
Or, yeah, I want to be like that. And that's not in a classroom. That's not taught to you. That's observing. But I think as we move on, we feel like classes are the way to go. And they are for some things. I'm not going to poo-poo them.
Right.
But do you know yourself? Are you, as a leader, responsible for your own development? Or are you just checking boxes? There was a great video I saw, I guess, because as I was reading and preparing and, we're talking, and of course our phone listens to everything we do, all of a sudden things started jumping up on my feed. Say you're in someone's house and you're like, oh, that's a nice washing machine. And all of a sudden, all these ads come for washing machines.
Girl,
and you're not even looking to buy one.
I know.
But for this, there was a man in this video who was talking about 360 assessments and how he had one. And, I think we all can say that sometimes self-assessments, you can answer a certain way to get the answers that you want.
Yeah, true.
But this was a 360. So other people were answering about him, above, below, side by side. And what's crazy was that he read it and he was like, nah, this really isn't me. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. But he brought it home with him to look at it deeper and left it on the table and walked out of the room. His wife picked it up and read it. Next time he walked in the room and she was there, she told him that that was the best analysis of who he really was. And that stopped him dead in his tracks.
Whoa.
So I think
Whoa.
when you take assessments, because then it becomes real, right? The people at work, but then when it comes into your home, because that's how you're acting in your home,
right?
That's something different. That hits a little deeper than just saying like, oh yeah, I should coach better. Oh yeah, I should be more empathetic. But when your own family is saying the same thing, and I think we need to really take stock in that. Take stock in the assessments that are given. Be true to yourself. What do you really need to work on? And then be the leader of yourself to get the development in that. Find it. There are so many different opportunities to find it. Talking to people, other leaders. Like, you don't have to sit in the class. But I think we try to fix people when people need to be part of the equation.
Oh, okay. So I as you know, I'm an executive coach. And one of the things that I always remind everybody is that coaching is not fixing. So talk to me more about what you just said there.
Way back when I was counseling a leader who had a 360, and the team, first of all, she moved from New York City and moved upstate, vastly different areas, right? Mm-hmm. Very new to the area. And her 360 came back really bad. So her leader asked me to help her. And we sat down and Feedback is a gift, but sometimes feedback is the gift that's from a crazy aunt who, doesn't even know who you are. And you're like, this is going back next week.
Gotta watch out for those crazy aunties.
Yeah, I had one of those. But there's something to be said about that.
Okay.
There's definitely something to be said about that. And in talking to her, it was such a simple fix, so to speak, that she didn't even realize she was doing it. She would walk in every day and just go to her desk. And she was like poo-pooing the reason that people thought that she should say hi. And she was like, there's work to be done. Like, I don't have time, nor do I care about what you did this weekend. And I'm like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point completely. Because that is not about caring, like just about what they did this weekend. It's building a relationship with the people who are working for you, doing the work you're responsible for.
Right.
That relationship building is key. And you're missing it. You're missing the whole point. So I told her to start doing it. I said, just say hi. And she was kind of an introvert, right? So for you and I, hi is like the baseline.
Right.
And then it goes to like a 20-minute conversation.
Right.
That's not difficult for us, but there are some people who have difficulty with interacting and building relationships. So she started off slow, stopping and saying hi. What did it take? 10 minutes, not even, of her day? But people started to form a different opinion. And on her next 360, because she really started to engage with the people who are working for her, total change.
Wow.
And the leader of her was so funny. He was like, don't you have a class or something you can do? No, man, classes are not the answer. Like, it's not a quick fix. This is a behavioral change.
Woo, you just gave me chills. Yes, because it is not a quick fix. And I think a lot of times that's what organizations and teams, leaders, et cetera, what they're looking for.
Oh, and why not? There's so many leaders in an organization, right? How can you custom fit learning for every single solitary person? That's why it's important that that person has a part of their development. It can't be all on the learning team, the leadership development team, and the same for individual contributors.
Yeah.
Everyone learns differently. Everyone's interests are different. Even kids. I mean, it's the same thing with teaching kids.
Yep, absolutely. So Chris, a thought comes to my mind then, talking about, the title for this episode is Developing the Role, Forgetting the Human. So in your opinion, what needs to change? What needs to happen in organizations in order for us to move to transformation of the leader, like true transformation versus training, the T word, which we know we both hate?
I think it really is the leader of that leader. I've seen wonderful people get transformed because their leader played a big part of that person's development. And they held themselves accountable. They checked in. They asked for feedback.
Right.
They looked for ways to learn that they like to learn. And we talk about not a one and done fix. If I go to a class on empathy or on, difficult conversations, there are other resources out there that my company does not need to provide me to make me, more adept in talking crucial conversations. I mean, you can go into AI and ask AI and help you get ready for a crucial conversation. It's so different than when it was back when.
Yeah.
I think as a leader, you are responsible for helping yourself in your development and finding ways you enjoy. Not everyone likes classes. Some people love podcasts. Some people, the best learning is when you experience the learning, if I'm doing it. And a lot of times we go through our day and we never look back to see if we learned anything. And I think that's a big piece too. At the end of the day, settle and just say, what did I learn today about me, about leadership? You'll be amazed how much you learned. But if you didn't shift your brain to actually think like that, then that is something that just check off the day, done, did what I had to do. But think about what you had to do. Best learning I ever had in leadership was being a leader and going through different scenarios. And listen, I've built scenarios in and out of classrooms, and they're great and they help you practice.
Yeah.
But when you're living it in the moment, like there's decisions that are made. And sometimes you make a decision, or you might say something, you're like, ooh, that was bad. But
Right.
recognize that was bad. And what was bad about it? And what can you do the next time?
Yeah. And right. And learn from it. But that self-reflection piece, especially doing that on a regular basis, is like a muscle that you're building. I love that.
Yes.
That is great, great, great advice for anyone who's really trying to like transform, is to like look inside.
And that's hard, right? No one wants to do that because
Yeah,
sometimes
very in
there's ickiness in there. It's like, oh, we don't want to think about that ever
Yes,
again.
for sure. Chris, you and I both know that we can like kick it and talk about this all day long, right? For a second there, I completely forgot that we were even on the show. And
I know.
and that's what I absolutely love. I hope that you will do me the honor of coming back on in the future. So we can have more conversations about leadership and developing as a leader. Would you be willing to do that? I'm putting you on the spot. You're supposed to say yes.
Well, duh. Of course I will come back. I just want to leave you with something, and I know we talked about this at one point. I recently watched a movie with my son. I made him watch it with me because I'm his mother and he will do what I say. And sometimes, and it's all about joy. But if you've ever watched Inside Out 2, and I bawled my entire time through it. It's all about the switch from a child into a young adult. And emotions like joy that live as a child, free, not really caring, as they become teenagers, get replaced with embarrassment and anxiety. And I just started crying. I started crying for two reasons. Crying because my son is, growing up, but crying because listening to you and reading your book, that's what happens, I think, with leadership. The joy that you feel as a leader as you move on in your leadership journey kind of gets replaced with anxiety, fear, embarrassment. And you lose that sense of joy. And that's really sad. And you just have to remember to just ground yourself a little bit and think about what brought you here. Yes, title, great. Pay increase, great. But at the end of the day, why are you here? Why are you a leader? And you're here for the people.
Yes.
My biggest joy is to watch my people leave me or move to another position and knowing that I helped in that growth. That is my joy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all those words of wisdom. And you are here for the people. That is why we lead. That is why we lead. And I couldn't have said it better myself. Chris, where can folks find you, my friend?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Christine Krok. And I would be happy to connect with anyone who would like to.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for being here. We're going to bring
you into
the room. Stick around. And thanks again for your words of wisdom. Really, truly appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Good to see everyone.
Thank you.